you, I saw two images. The first one is a little bit strange. I see like a very prehistoric landscape, and there are like, you know, Neanderthal or cavemen, okay? Everything looks very cartoony. So I see this caveman. He's very stocky looking. He's half naked, and he's wearing like an animal skin loincloth, okay? He's heading towards his cave. And he's got like a mace. It's made out of like some type of an animal femur. And he's holding it on one hand and kind of like resting the end of it on his neck. It looks like a baseball bat, but it's made from bone. And on the other hand, he's dragging what looks like a gazelle. It seems like he went hunting. He hit the gazelle over the head with the mace, knocked it out, and he's dragging the carcass of the gazelle back into his cave. And his cave, it seems like there's already a fire going. So that was the scene that I saw. And the image that I got from this is, you know, it's very much about survival. Okay, the daily functions that we have to perform in order to sustain ourselves, okay? So the whole concept about, you know, having this gazelle, he's probably going to skin it. He's going to reuse the skin to make like a new piece of loincloth for himself, possibly. And then he's going to, you know, share the meat or eat the body with the rest of his kinsmen, because it seems like there are already people with the fire going inside the cave, okay? So that's the first thing. The second thing that I saw is I see the same man, but you don't see him. You kind of see his hand. It's very callous, and it looks like, you know, he's dealt with a lot of hard labor in his life. He's looking at his hands. He's washing his hands free of blood from the animal that he just possibly slaughtered. And then as he's washing it, he comes into this sense of awareness where he's looking at like all the twirls and all the lines on his finger, on his index finger. And I was thinking, you know, automatically like fingerprints, something about fingerprinting, something about security checks, something about what makes me unique, okay? Like the one feature that makes him unique. But keep in mind, this is like prehistoric time before we have, you know, fingerprint analysis. So he's probably not sure why there are these twirls or these whirls on his fingertips. So I feel like the energy for this month is a lot more about, you know, your identity. It's like coming into this sense of awareness about yourself, this awareness about what you're capable of, because whenever I see hands, we do everything with our hands. And our hands, the way that our hands look, how delicate it is, how soft it is, how rough it is, or how calloused it is, indicates a person, you know, like they're kind of like how much they have really struggled in life. So you can tell a lot about, you know, the profession that somebody is in based on the nature of their hands. If somebody usually has an office job, they, especially women, they normally have, you know, really well manicured fingers. If somebody is in construction or in, you know, yeah, in construction, their hands will probably have a lot of calluses, a lot of splinters, a lot of rough patches of skin. So I feel almost like, I don't know why that came up for you, but I feel many of you are really, really looking at the lines in your fingers, thinking about, you know, all the things that you've had to do to get to the point that you are today, and how that really shapes your worldview and how that really shapes the person that you are right now. So I definitely feel a lot of the energy is all about introspection, where we have been and where we're trying to go. Okay, so I do see in all these little minute details, a lot of it is thinking about, you know, our past, our history, our ancestry, where they've been, where we have been, and how that shapes the trajectory of where we're trying to go next, okay? So you got a lot of cards that just popped out. So I'm going to get, let me see, 7 more cards for you. So usually with this deck so far, okay, everything that I've mentioned when I did the other videos, this is I think this is the first time I've used this deck. It's the Aquarian Tarot deck for those who are interested. And I got this deck as a gift from my mom. She decided to get me I think I was moving into a new location, so she got this for me. And I remember I wanted the deck because, you know, it was an Aquarian tarot deck, and I'm an Aquarius, and I thought it would really resonate with me. But so far, it's been really difficult for me to connect to this deck, because the way the images are, it seems very angular, like the lines in the deck, or the lines in the card, and the lines in the drawing. So it's been really, really difficult for me to kind of interpret, okay, and to really connect to this deck. And I mentioned with one of the other signs, I feel like this might be the last time that I use this deck, because I feel like I'm not getting like a fluid or a coherent message across the cards, okay? And I feel like as I was shuffling and as I meditate to get images for all the signs, the images, it's harder for the images to come in, and also the images make less sense than they did when I used the other decks. So we'll just see, you know, how things go with you guys. But that's how I'm feeling so far about this deck. And I wish it wasn't so. I wish it was different, and I wish I could connect, you know, to it the way that I do with all the other cards. But there's something strange going on, and I just feel like, you know, I'm not really able to connect with this deck. Yeah, and the way I read the cards, I usually do like tarot card interaction. One card next to another usually, you know, signifies a different meaning. So, for example, if you have these two cards and their innate meaning could be different depending on their placement in the spread. And I feel like with this deck, I kind of have to read them one by one by one, so it tells less of a coherent story. And that's just, it's different from the way that I normally read. Okay, so let me just, first of all, the two cards that really stuck out here, the first card out of the spread, we have here the High Priestess. And the High Priestess usually denotes our intuition kicking in overdrive. Okay, so this is heavily about trusting your intuition, information that comes through from a sense of knowing. Okay, but the way that this card fell out, it's right on top of the Six of Cups, which denotes to me children. What I'm feeling with this energy overall is I feel like for those of you who are in a capacity where you are dealing with children, where you're watching over them, you're taking care of them, I feel almost like you're learning a lot more about yourself through the interaction with the children or the younger people in your life. And I feel for many of you, the High Priestess, she's not like, she's a very, very wise woman, okay? She's been through a lot. It's almost like the Queen of Swords. She's been through a lot, and she has a very loving but very, very detached air about her. Okay, this is somebody who's not warm and cuddly. It's somebody you come to for advice if you're looking for the honest truth and you're looking for, you know, spiritual guidance, but it's not somebody that you can come to and just vent to, because she is the person that, you know, gives insights, gives wisdom. She's not somebody that you can cry your eyes out to, and she's not the one that will just listen when you want to vent, okay? And the energy that I'm picking up from this spread is I definitely feel for many of you, there's a sense of like learning to lovingly detach from a person that you care greatly about. It could be emotionally detached from the children. If you feel like, you know, you want them to be self-sufficient, you want them to be capable, you want them to just be independent, you kind of have to release control a little bit, and you kind of have to let them make their own mistakes, and you kind of have to let them live their life, okay? I feel like for many of you, you're coming into this sense of awareness where in the past, you might have held on to something really, really, it's like hanging on to dear life in a situation, wanting a specific outcome, And so you might have tried to actively control the situation. And this is a month where you start to release control, where you start to realize that, everybody has their own way that they want to live, and it's not our place to kind of like, interfere with that process. So on the one hand, they might come to you for advice, and you might have a specific course of action that you want them to take, and you want to make it clear that this is where you should go. But I feel like you're learning loving detachment, where if they're coming to you asking for answers, asking for advice as to what they want to do, you're going to be very impartial in letting them know all the possibilities, all the different routes that they could take, and only hope that they would do what's best for them. So what you want, I feel like you're putting that on the back burner. What you want for the other person to do, you're putting that on the back burner because you want them to live out their destiny, and at the same time, you want them to learn. So you're taking a little bit more of a hands-off approach. I'm going to show you all the possible paths that you can take, but ultimately that decision is yours. So I see you taking a step back, exercising loving detachment with another person that you really care about. This could be children. This could be somebody in your life that you are, really, really, truly in love with. But you know that you cannot interfere with their life path, with their life destiny. Just like that twirl in each individual's fingertips, everybody has their own unique path in this lifetime, okay? No two paths are the same, and that's why fingerprints are all very, very different from one person to the next, okay? It's like the little nuances in the lines, in the twirls, in the little crevices in our hands. Everything is unique. Everything, it seems like there's, grand design in place, but the overarching message is that everyone has to, live out their true destiny, their true path. And we're not in a position where we should steer somebody to do something that we want them to do. So I feel like you're coming to the realization that we can try to control, but ultimately it is wrong for us to overstep our boundaries or to kind of like manipulate a situation to get the outcome that we're looking for. Because when we're dealing with another person, we really cannot interfere with their free will. Okay. On the tail end of that, I'm feeling like many of you are really, really thinking heavily about situations in your life. So this is a spread that is very introspective. You're thinking about a decision in your life where you were so emotionally invested in another person and you wanted a specific outcome. And I feel like you might have wanted the other person to take a specific course of action. And you start to realize that, the more you push, the more that energetically they resist. They might not resist you outright. They might not tell you, you stay out of my business. But I feel like the more you try to control it, the more that it slips your fingers, the more that it slips through your fingers. So the best that you can do is, just sit there and wait for them to arrive at the best decision when they are ready. I see a lot of people who might have been parents or grandparents. And for those who are parents, especially for those who are single parents, okay? I'm sensing that, I don't know what it's like to be a parent. I don't have children. But I feel like a lot of us, when we have children, we see the children not for their biological age, but for the fact that they're always going to be children. We watch them grow up. We change their diapers. We feed them. We clothe them. We watch them when they're napping, when they're sleeping. So there's definitely this maternal, paternal, overprotective energy that is triggered within us, right? And so no matter how old the children get, they can be in their 30s, they could be in their 40s, they're always, in our eyes, they're always going to be our babies. And so even though they have really progressed, even though they've had a lot of education under their belt and a lot of life experience, we always see the children as somebody that needs protection. And so as parents, we might overstep our boundaries and we might try to control the choices that they make, the decisions that they make. And the more we try to control, the more it backfires. And so you're looking through almost like watching a movie reel of all the decisions that you've made in the past, especially as it pertains to people that you love. And you might have realized that, I controlled the situation a little bit too much. I should have done this, but instead I did this. I should have, I was too overprotective, and I made them do things that I thought was good for them, but in the greater scheme of things, it wasn't good for them because it didn't teach them about self-sufficiency. It didn't teach them about trusting that the choices that they make are the right choice, and I feel like it disallowed them from making their own choices and living with the consequences of their choices. And so you're really analyzing, what it means to really be a parent. How much do we try to control and how much do we try to relinquish control? Where's that middle ground? Okay. And not only is this something that you're heavily thinking about when it comes to child rearing, when it comes to the people that you love in your life that are a little bit more vulnerable, that are a little bit younger than you, but I also feel the same mentality can be applied when it comes to the people that you truly, truly love. The Six of Cups is a soulmate connection. And this soulmate connection usually means like it's something that is a past life energy. There is a soul contract between two people to come together in this lifetime. And whenever I have this soulmate type of connection, it usually denotes a lot of, it's like somebody that you're magnetically very, very drawn to. Okay, and we all have experienced that soul connection with another person where they just enter our lives and we feel like we've already spent a lifetime with them. We know them in and out. They trigger us. There are certain emotional triggers that they bring into our lives. The emotional awareness, but also the triggers, the abandonment issues, the fears, the insecurities, and at its best, the soulmate connection can also denote a situation where you're with another person and you feel this overwhelming sense of calmness and serenity that you don't have with other connections in your life. Okay, so at its worst, it can trigger a lot of dormant emotions, but at its best, it gives us a sense of calmness, trust, and serenity. So I definitely feel for many of you, there is a soulmate connection that you have with another person. And I feel like the other person is somebody who's very, very spiritually evolved, okay? They are a nurturer, they're a caretaker, they have a very detached air about them, but they have a really beautiful, gentle heart and a very loving soul, and they really want what's best for you. For some of you, this could be a romantic partner. I do see that. And then for others of you, this could be somebody that is, I do see an age gap, and I do see like a generational rift where you see things from a different angle. You might be the one that is a little bit younger, whereas the other person's a little bit older, okay? So this is your energy here. We have here the Knight of Rods. This is the Knight of Wands. This is somebody who's almost like the Fool. Okay, the imagery with the little baton resting on his shoulder. It's somebody who's very excitedly starting out on a new life. So they have a new lease on life. They're starting out on a new life. There's a lot of hopeful energy associated with this knight. He's very passionate. He's very excited. He's very truthful. He's very adventurous. And so this is somebody who's very, very enthusiastic about being independent, about, being able to live his life the way that he knows how. And you're dealing with a soulmate connection that is the High Priestess. And for some of you, this is an older person, okay? Somebody who might be about 40 years old, about 50 years old. And this is somebody who, I feel like that plant they're holding is you. They want to nurture you. They want to take care of you. They might be a little bit on the controlling side where they want you to do things a specific way. They might want to contain your energy and have you exclusively to themselves, not in a selfish way, but because they really, really love you. There's a lot here about exclusivity, and there's a lot here about this person wanting you all to themselves, when in fact you are somebody who wants to explore your territory. You're not done living your life just yet, and you're not in a position where you're ready or you're willing to settle down just yet. And I feel like the other person is in a position where they do want to settle down. They do want to start a family potentially, and they really want to, do that with you. But I feel like for many of you, you are definitely aware that you're not that person that the other person is looking for, that you might not be in a position to reciprocate and give them everything that they're looking for. So if this sounds like it's your situation, you have to be very truthful and honest, because I feel like there's a connection between you and another person that is very, very undeniable. Okay, it's really strong. It brings about a sense of inner peace and serenity that you could not find with another person. You feel it. You feel the sense of calmness washing over you, the sense of safety, familiarity when you interact with this person, and they sense it too. But I feel like this relationship is a little bit too it's not enough for you. And if you can, honestly admit that to yourself, this relationship is not enough for me, and make your choices accordingly so that you don't end up hurting this person. If you're not ready to be in a relationship with this person the way that they want you to be, you have to be truthful and honest with them so that they understand, so that they don't sit there and wait for you, so that if you enter into a union with them when you're not ready, you might end up feeling resentful. You might end up, breaking off the relationship and really hurting them. Or you might feel like over time that the relationship is not enough for you, where you might step out of the relationship. So I feel for many of you, you're at a major crossroads pertaining to a significant relationship where there is definitely a soulmate energy. Okay, the two of you have this really, really beautiful potential for a very beautiful union, but the timing right now is not just right. For some of you, you might be dealing with an earth sign. This is a Taurus, a Virgo, or a Capricorn, sun, moon, or rising. And then for others, I'm getting a Virgo energy, as well as a water sign, Pisces, Cancer, or a Scorpio. And I feel like the love is very, very undeniable. Like two people really caring about each other, wanting the best for each other. Because with this Six of Cups, it's a card about innocence. Okay, when we're dealing with like that puppy love stage, children don't hold grudges. They don't keep scores. They can hold hands, during recess and be happy. So I feel like, two people wanting to bring their best to a relationship. Somebody is like, this is what I have to offer you. Whereas the other person, it's all like, I still want to live my life. I still want to explore. I still want to date around a little bit. I'm not ready. And if you can honestly admit to the other person, I really care about you, and I might even say I love you, but I'm just not at a point where I'm ready. And then for others of you, there's a lot of heartache here. We have the Three of Swords. And the Three of Swords in this deck, it deals with a situation. There's no blood coming out from the sword. Okay, so it's a situation that has been like this for quite some time. And we have here an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, or a Capricorn with the Five of Swords. This is somebody that has really, the thing about earth signs, I see a lot of coupling between Sagittarius people and earth sign people. Earth signs are very, very practical, okay? They're pragmatic. They do things. They don't sit there and talk about things. And I feel like for a lot of fire signs, you guys need a lot of declarations of love, okay? It doesn't even have, you don't even have to be a Leo. It could be like, any fire signs, like Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo. But it doesn't even have to be the Leo people, but you need a little bit of ego stroking. When you do something great, you want to receive a gold star. When you do something that you're very proud of, you want the other person to tell you, you're amazing, you're ingenious, I'm really proud of you. I am, you're very, very smart for having thought of that. Like I feel like you need that validation. You need that ego stroking in a way. And you need that verbal affirmation of love. And I feel like this is a person that doesn't operate that way. The King of Pentacles values the things that he can see, he can touch, he can taste, okay? He lives in the physical world. And so compliments don't come easily to him. They don't come easily from him. He sees the proper value in situations. So when he makes a choice to be with somebody, it can usually be more of a calculating choice, okay? So for some of you, you have almost like an imprint of an earth sign in your life that has really caused a lot of pain, okay? That has like really done a lot of things over the years to really hurt you. This is, I want to say, for some of you, this is like a relationship partner that you always will remember. If they're already in the past, you will still always remember them because you care about them so much, but for whatever reason, there's a lot of heartache associated with this. For some of you, you could still be with this person. There has been a lot of arguments. There has been a lot of strife. There has been a lot of disappointment that this person has brought into your life. And I feel like they're showing you a side of yourself that you're not really comfortable seeing. You value your independence and almost like you value your independence. And I feel like this person, for whatever reason, made you realize that you needed their affirmation, you needed the confirmation of their love in a way where it runs counter to your independence. So I almost feel like they made you feel like I'm not as independent as I thought. If I was as independent as I thought, if I were, very independent, what they think about me, what they say about me wouldn't even matter. But every time you interact with this person, I almost feel like you're not getting what you want out of this relationship. And so I definitely feel here there's an earth sign coming out of the picture. There's an earth sign that's dealing as well with a lot of heartache concerning your behavior, the way that you behave towards them, your kind of like detachment towards them. I see many of you have moved away from them and or are actively moving away from them, trying to move away from them. So I feel like this person is trying to reach out, they're looking back at their past too. It's not like, they don't reflect on the past. They're looking back at the past and they're looking at their contributions to the downfall in this situation. I feel like it's somebody who lives with a lot of regret. And for whatever reason, they have a really hard time admitting that they made mistakes. They've had a really hard time admitting how their actions have contributed to the emotional rift between you and them. Okay, so I definitely feel there's somebody here that is mulling over their life choices and feeling like they have made some big mistakes when it comes to you, when it comes to the things that they have done, the things that they have said, and the decisions that they have made regarding you. The Three of Swords usually as well indicates a third party type of an interference. So I feel like they might have let other people get in between the relationship. And I feel for many of you, this might be family. They might have put their family first. They might have also put other situations first before you. And so you felt almost like second best in this relationship. And I feel like for many, many years, it really hurt your self-esteem to the point where your heart becomes a little bit callous, to the point where you try to downplay their importance in your life, okay? You really try your best to tell them that, oh, you don't mean a lot to me. I can find another person like you. I'm not stuck on you. There's nothing here that indicates I can't walk away from you. And I feel like you might have used that kind of like to kind of throw it in their face, to let them know, to kind of like put them in their place, to let them know that they don't mean a lot to you. But I feel like there's a pain in this relationship that you both are carrying. They're suffering from the consequences of their actions. They didn't prioritize you. They didn't see the value in you. They didn't put you first. And then as a result of it, when a fire sign has not been placed first, or when they have been chosen over by another person or passed over by another person, they're like, they turn cold, and they will do everything within their power to let the other person know, I don't need you. Okay, so I feel like there's a situation here where the simple act of communication, honestly, I feel can resolve the situation between you and them, but I don't feel like anybody's really budging. Okay, I don't feel like anybody's really budging. What I have here is the Six of Wands, and I feel like this is you kind of like turning your nose up at the situation and trying to move on with your life. So for many of you, you might have already been separated from this person. You're trying to move on with your life, trying to take care of the practical things. This is a card that denotes to me success, okay? Victory, having making a lot of positive strides in your own life, moving forward with your career, getting a lot of positive reception, getting recognition from the physical environment that you're in, from coworkers, from colleagues, in the professional environment, and using this kind of like as a self-esteem boosting type of an energy. Okay, so I feel like you're not able to find that love and that support from the home environment, and so you're moving forward and trying to make your mark in the world. And I feel like that's the validation that you have been relying on. Okay, if I'm not appreciated in the home environment or with this person that I really, really care for, then I'm going to seek validation in other areas of my life. I'm going to be able to move ahead and push things forward and achieve a lot of success. So in a way, I feel like it's a karmic contract. It's almost like you weren't getting what you were hoping for. You weren't getting that love and that support. And so you had to, it really inspired you to work hard, to be dedicated, to persevere, to move your life ahead in a way where you can look back and look at your achievements and say, I'm a really amazing, special person. That person did not see the proper value in me, and there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't detract me from who I am. So this is the month where you're coming into the sense of realization that whatever you were doing, I feel like it was to show for yourself or to prove to yourself, I'm worthy. Okay, it took many, many years for you to realize this, that everything that you thought you were doing naturally, just as a part of your, I almost feel like as a part of your destiny, it wasn't so much your destiny, it's that you were looking for a lot of validation. You worked really hard. You strived really, really hard because you were looking for validation from your external environment, because I feel like the people that you were looking for validation, they didn't give you that validation. It's almost like you couldn't get that with your house, your home environment, through the people that you love, through relationship partners, through siblings, through children. So you have to push in a different arena, in a different way, in the way that Sagittarius people know how. And so by pushing ahead, by moving forward, I feel like you have really outdone yourself. You have really shown in the professional environment. And I feel like that gave you that self-esteem boost, okay? So this is very much about figuring out where we have been. We've been kind of like mired in this situation, and it really, really shaped our sense of self-esteem. And it really, really shaped, it really like pushes us to achieve more, because we felt like we weren't appreciated by the people that we really cared about or by the people that we love. And so moving forward, we have a lot of energy about you taking charge of your life, okay? In the past, you were this, okay? Knight of Wands, somebody who's hot-headed, somebody who's like out to change the world. And then over time, in the process of getting through life, dealing with disappointment, dealing with situations where we have to exercise loving detachment, dealing with situations where people say one thing, they mean another, and dealing with people who are very, very, very hard to please, and whose compliments we really wanted, like we were really looking for validation and looking for compliments and looking for the praises from this person, but they're very hard to come by. And as the process of dealing with this environment, I feel like it really made you a lot stronger. It made you realize that I'm capable regardless of what people think of me. I don't need to prove to anybody anything. I know that I'm capable, and I know that I'm capable because of all of the external things that I'm able to achieve in the world, all the worldly success, all the things that I persevere and was able to garner, and all the things that I was able to achieve in my own personal life. So I don't need validation from anybody else. And so you are almost like graduating from this Knight of Wands into this King of Wands, where you are very secure, where you are very headstrong, where you don't need validation from other people. And what I have is, for those of you who are looking for relationships where you have separated from a person that was a little bit cold, that was very distant from you, like they're emotionally, I feel like they're very cold. And they might have been a little bit more on the me, selfish spectrum, okay? And for whatever reason, I feel like you've dealt with your fair share of bad relationships, Sagittarius. And I feel like you have something coming into the future where you're meeting somebody who is your equal, okay? Two people looking at each other, two people who are who are meant for the world, who are very, very accomplished, and who have a lot of admirable traits that both partners kind of like value. So I feel like you're meeting somebody who's very like-minded. You could potentially be meeting another fire sign like yourself who you understand, who understands you. So I feel like in the past, you might have been attracted to a specific type of a person that might not have been compatible with you. Moving forward, we have more compatibility, more harmony, more easygoing energy. Like it's more like a fit that is made for you. And it's coming in the form of possibly another fire sign that is going to be coming into your life. But I do feel like overall, the Nine of Rods, the Nine of Wands, is this sense of, this is a sentry. This is somebody who's in a battle position, like gearing up for battle, okay? They're keeping watch and they're very much on guard. And I feel like everything that you've been through with relationship partners that did not appreciate you, I feel like you're on guard. I feel like no matter who's coming in or no matter what the universe is conspiring to bring in for you, you're looking at things with a healthy dose of skepticism. And based on everything that you've been through, you're taking everything with a grain of salt. You're not going to be wishy-washy or starry-eyed about new opportunities. You're looking at situations in a more pragmatic way. Because in the past, I feel like you might have been a little bit hot-headed, jumping into situations without thinking, without having like a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan. Now you're being a lot more methodical. You're being a lot more calculating. You're being a lot more cautious about who you get involved with, who you give your energy to, and you want to make sure that the other person reciprocates, or the other person is in alignment with you, or the other person is on the same page as you before you get involved. So the month of how has that made us the person that we are today? And judging by, everything that we've been through, everything that we've learned, how can we do things better the next time around? So I feel like the energy is all about incorporating everything that you've learned from the past, so that you don't make the same mistakes in the future, okay? And unfortunately, I feel like the reading's a little bit flat, and I wish I could just, blame the cards, but I'm not going to do that. I don't think I'm going to use this deck of cards in the future, but I just want you to take away the message that I feel for many of you, you have achieved a lot. And it's like the drive and the ambition and the sheer survival instinct. I feel like you've really pushed against all odds. Okay, you've really swam upstream, despite. I feel like against all odds, you have made it. You've really shown yourself to be a really strong person, and you are coming into awareness that there are many things that you were very capable of doing on your own, and it's the process of waiting for other people that really held you back in life, okay? Especially waiting around for the wrong people. And so moving forward, I see Sagittarius moving in a very independent way, self-possessed way. You're carrying yourself with pride. Your head is higher. You're embracing the really powerful new you. And you are realizing how strong, how capable, and how competent you have been, which is really good. I see you with your head held high, and I see you overcoming a lot of adversity in order to get where you are right now. And I feel like you have a lot to be proud of, okay, Sagittarius? So I'm really happy to see that for you. But I feel like, it took a lot for you to get to this point. And you had your fair share of disappointment. And I feel like no matter what, the universe is going to bring more people into your life, friends, lovers, new relationships that are a lot more in alignment with you. But you still need to be honest with yourself if you're ready to meet the new person halfway, because I feel like, they have a lot of love to give, and they're looking for a lot more stability and a lot more consistency in their life. So if you're not at that point in your life where you're ready or able to give them that, you have to be really honest with them as well, okay? So for those of you who are looking for a private reading, I do have a link in the description box for a psychic. Her name is Bridget. She's based out of California. She's very amazing, and I've been advocating for her. She's phenomenal. So if you're looking for spiritual guidance, I highly recommend that you book a reading with her. Her information and her scheduling website is there's a link for that in the description box below. So I will see you guys in about 2 weeks time. Okay, take care.